Hey everyone, this is Stanpai, and today's video is all about Toys R Us. So for those of you who are even a little bit aware of news, having to do with American toy companies, Toys R Us is no more. As of June 29th, 2018, Toys R Us is closed. And this news has been coming for some time, but it's here, and now Toys R Us is officially gone, and it's kind of crazy to me, like just because of its significance as an American icon, and not just the United States, but even in Canada. Toys R Us has always been a very significant player in the world of toys and childhoods. It's always been significant because just the diversity and the experience, right? Toys R Us was always about going in and having an experience. So I'm not going to spend much more talking about, what went wrong and why Toys R Us is closing. I don't need to do all that. You can read an article to tell you about that on the news. What I'm going to talk about are some of my personal favorite memories of Toys R Us, because I think that's probably the best way to honor Toys R Us as a brand, is to talk about what it did for me throughout my life. So, the first thing I'll bring up is, in its recent years, Toys R Us remained a place where Nintendo showcased different things, and Pokemon cards were given away as promos. So, that's definitely something I want to first give a shout out to. Is just that entire culture around Nintendo previews and experiences and getting the chance to get like that cool Pokemon promo card, and even the little activities they had while you were waiting. I always enjoyed sitting down and coloring some of the different Pokemon with a friend. Like, why not? Let's enjoy. So that's one thing, and it sounds like it's so childish, right? But no, it's not. It's just doing it. It's calming. It's fun. Like, it was cool to do. It wasn't something that people go to the nightclub and and trade Pokemon cards, but like, it was so cool to see this dynamic of people, because there were children getting Pokemon cards, there were like heavy collectors showing up with their binders, and everybody in between trading and coloring and talking about things like Pokemon. And to me, like, that was so cool. And this was a really good space for that to happen, and it was official. So that's one thing I want to give special acknowledgement to. Another one is just amazing deals. Toys R Us had some of the best deals on things like Amiibos, on just general games. Like, you'll find that most of what I'm going to talk about has to do with games. But Toys R Us was a great place to go for video games. And on Black Friday, I remember getting my new 3DS, and it was $100. Like, it was a great deal. They were sold out everywhere else, but they had it at Toys R Us. And whether that's a symptom of why they needed to close down later because they had inventory, or just because they had it, like, it doesn't matter. It's just, it was nice to walk into Toys R Us on Black Friday, not have to get crushed by immense hordes of people. Just go in, look for what you want, walk out, have a cool new thing to bring home. So that's another thing about Toys R Us that I definitely want to acknowledge and thank. We're going to jump back like almost 20 years now to the year 1999. Because this, for me, is like my biggest Toys R Us memory. And there was stuff like getting skateboards and whatever. Like, there was stuff happening, Legos, but I'm not going to worry about those right now. What I'm going to talk about is my single most precious Toys R Us memory. Because this one, when I think about Toys R Us, like, really think about it, there's just no experience that comes close to the long-term impact that it had on my life without knowing it at the time that it would become so significant. So, it's 1999 or so. I turned 6 years old, right? So, here's Stan. I'm 6. Imagine less hair here, more hair here. And my dad says, hey, for your birthday, I'm taking you to Toys R Us, and you're going on a shopping spree. This is your budget. You have this many dollars. Go. And to me, it was like, what? Really? Like, I could just pick whatever I want? Yep. Just make it fit within your budget. Oh, wow. So, like, here's me now thinking, like, doing the math calculations in my head. I'm like, okay, I can get a lot of little things, and like, they'll add up. But if I get a bunch of little stuff, like, how many $5 items can I get? And how many $1? Like, I wanted to get as much as possible because, like, to me, this shopping spree was, like, the coolest thing ever. And Toys R Us had such variety in its toys that you could do that. Like, you could pick out different things. So I remember very few of the items do I actually remember now. The only 2 that come to mind were a little bicycle, like a little, like, toy bike that was like this big, and one of those Tech Deck skateboards. Like, for some reason, those are the 2 items that I remember from this shopping spree. I think maybe I got some action figures, but that was it. Like, that was like my 6-year-old birthday. Whoa, I am on a shopping spree at Toys R Us. This is the coolest thing that could ever happen. And what's so significant about this memory is not the shopping spree. Because I'm done. Like, I finished. The shopping spree is over. And I have got all of my toys. And I am like, Dad, thank you so much. I can't believe that this was my present. Like, this is unheard of. I couldn't even fathom this being a present. Like, that I got to do this. Like, this was, wow. Wow. So, I've got my stuff, and I'm just like, this was amazing. And we're getting ready to leave. And just because we're walking by it, there's the video game section. In my head, Toys R Us didn't really correlate with video games at this point in time. But there it is. There's all the different gaming stuff, and in the corner of my eye, I see a familiar character. It's Super Mario. Oh, cool, Mario. And Pikachu. Mario and Pikachu? So at this point now, the gears in my head are turning in confusion because I've never seen Mario and Pikachu in anything together. And then I see the most important thing on the box. Hidden in the side of the box, right? It's not even in the main stage where Mario and Pikachu are. I like the 2 of them, but not as much as I like that character. On the side of the Smash Brothers box, right? Just before, like, half off of the box, in fact. It cuts off the character. I recognize my favorite character in video games at the time. Link is in this game! Is what I would have said. But 6-year-old me did not know who Link was. By name. My copy of Ocarina of Time was given to me by my neighbor, and it easily became my favorite game, like, period. Like, there's no better game in my library than The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And my neighbor just gave it to me, because I don't want it anymore. Here you go. Well, okay, thank you. Right? But the thing is, I had no idea what Link's name was, because it was his copy. So the character files were named after other people. So I didn't know Link's name. It was just whatever random names that the player had chosen. So it hits me because I see it and it says $25. And I'm conflicted because I've got this incredible experience of my shopping spree, and now I've got this despair because I didn't even think to look at the video game section. And my shopping spree's already over. And I can't get it. And I look at it and I'm just like... And then my dad says something to me that completely destroyed my 6-year-old mind. You want that too? You can get it. And so, for my 6th birthday, I went to Toys R Us. I got to do a really cool shopping spree. And on top of everything else, my dad got me Super Smash Brothers. I can't say that I remember all those different toys. But I know that if I only got one thing, if it was Super Smash Brothers, that would have been enough. Because that game changed my life and the life of so many other people. But also, that game taught me that his name was Link. It was because of that 6th birthday that I found Smash Brothers and found out who my favorite character really was. And that happened because of a display at Toys R Us. These kinds of experiences are kind of those defining moments of a childhood as far as consumerism goes, where you see that thing and you're like, this is so cool. Whether it's a video game or a toy or something else, it's that experience when you don't know any better. And in this time period, right, because just like how it had been in the 80s and even, in the Atari era, right, it's the Nintendo 64 era, but all you really have to go off of, if you're me, is the box art. And there's Link on the box, looking kind of squiggly and scrawny, which I honestly had big issues with, and I'll talk about that. But that was the Toys R Us experience. And I feel for people who will never experience that, because you can get those amazing presents, right? You can get those really cool toys on Amazon, anywhere else, right? You can order them online. You don't have to go to the store ever. But there is nothing like going into the Toys R Us, seeing that thing that you really wanted, getting to try it out or look at it, like in person, and that being part of the experience. So, to Toys R Us, I say, I'm sorry that you're gone. I still appreciated you as a store. I still went in. I still looked around. I still made purchases sometimes. And I wasn't the only one. And while this market may not have been one for you to survive in, at least the years that you were around, and there were many of them, we had some good times. As for that Smash Brothers copy, I still have it. I can still play it. And I can still remember the instruction manual where it said Link's name and showed that character art that made no sense to me because everybody else looked so good, but they gave Link this little noodle design of like looking scrawny and weak. And I was like, that ain't Link. Link's like the strongest, coolest dude ever. But I digress. Thank you, Toys R Us. You'll be missed. Also, thank you, Dad, for that amazing birthday. This is Stanpai. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any Toys R Us memories that you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them, because like those kind of memories, I made this video because I saw what my friends were saying, and I saw these kinds of comments being left around, and so that's where it's all about, man. Well, I'm Stanpai, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already, And be sure to check out some of the other videos here on my channel. I don't normally make these kinds of sit down and talks, but I felt like doing this one. So I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching.